Alright, in this week's video I'm going to do a quick tutorial on roofs. I'm going to go over some of the tips and tricks that made these roofs possible. As you can see, these are fairly complex, lots of different shapes coming into each other. And I'm going to show you some of the basic things that I did to make this roof work and not be overlapping on the interiors and whatnot. So to do this, I've started a new project. Just so I can start from scratch. And what you'll want to do is obviously come up to roof. I like to use the roof by footprint, and then pick walls is one of my favorite ways to do it. And then I'm going to do a 2-foot overhang, and I want it to extend into the wall core. And I'm going to click here, 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 and here to start. And then to make this shape complete, I will use this tool to connect them. And then to add a slope, I will control click both of these and click define slope. And then to change the slope, you would come into here, which obviously I clicked the wrong template because this is in degrees and not typical rise over run, but we will run with this anyway. So we'll do 30 degrees and we will click OK. And I usually like to do the generic 8-inch, well, not the 18-inch. I usually go with the thinnest roof because I think it looks the most realistic. So then I will come to 3D, and you can see I've got this hosted on the first floor, but I want it on the second floor. So base level, level 2, apply. So now I've got this roof on here, and you can see that the walls do not come up to the roof. So you want to select the walls around this, like so, and you want to attach top to base. And you can see this brings the walls up to the roof. So now I'm going to create the roofs over this portion of the structure, and I'm going to come to first floor to do that. So I run project, then I'll come to roof again. It's saved my 2-foot overhang. I'm going to select extend the wall core, start picking lines, and then I'm going to close this roof off right here. So I will just draw a line in here, and I will use the trim extend tool to connect all the line work. And then I'm going to add a slope to both of these portions of the roof, and then I will put that to level 2 and hit apply. And I'm going to come to 3D now, and you see there is this massive gap between this roof and this main roof. So to fix this, I'm actually going to bump this back to closer to where that soffit ends. And then I'm going to come to the join / unjoin roof tool. And what you do to connect these two roofs is you select the edge of this roof and then the greater plane of this roof, and as you can see, it has created a perfect triangulated extension of that roof that goes onto the larger roof. So that works pretty good. I'm going to try something new that I haven't tried before just to see if this will work. I'm going to try the cut geometry just to see if it will cut this out of this other roof. So bear with me on this one. Oh, that did not work. Sorry about that. So how I actually cut the geometry out of this roof in my other project was I edited the footprint. I do believe there's like a dormer tool or something that will cut the geometry out of the roof. I'm not super familiar with it right now. So I'm just going to edit the pink lines of this structure. I'm going to select this, and then I'm going to non-overlapping lines. Do this and this, and then I'm going to move it back to the edge. And now I'm going to split these lines and use trim extend. And I will delete this line and see if this roof still works. And it looks like it does. So that worked really well. As you can see, it cut this portion of the roof out. So now, if you were to go on the interior, you could see that. Let's see if I put this in realistic, if it'll show it any better. So yeah, now you can see that instead of looking through and seeing shingles on a roof, you can see an opening. So this would work well in a case where you're trying to vault a ceiling. Otherwise, you're just going to have a ceiling modeled in there and it won't be a big deal. But that is one of the tools, or one of the ways that I made my works work from the interior perspective. Once again, just attach top to geometry, unjoin elements. Okay, and now the walls go up to this, and sometimes this may work to attach to this roof. It actually does, so you can get away with that pretty simply by just attaching that. I was afraid that it wouldn't work right just because it's along this plane that has this other roof on it. But anyway, that does work. But in the cases where your walls, let's say you had a wall and it was split here, it would only attach half the wall up here, and you would have to manually fix it over here. So if I hit Control Z and then I double click this wall, put me in pink lines mode, and I can actually manually edit the profile of the wall. So if I wanted this wall to come up to this roof, all I would have to do is I can come in here and pick lines, and I like to offset these a little bit so it's not just on the edge, but it kind of goes into the structure of the roof. That way you don't see any gaps. And then I like to split this element, and then if I hit the green arrow, once again the wall comes up to the roof. So those are kind of like the basic fundamentals I use over and over again. There's really no exception for trial and error while doing this, because sometimes you'll try something and you think it's going to work and then it doesn't, and you just got to keep trying until your roof eventually works. But just creating the roofs, editing the walls, and using this join/unroof command is something I use a lot. And as you see, it'll give you this little animation of it working. I think that pretty much covers the basics that I use the most. So anyway, I hope that was helpful.